been on the scrounge. So I've got all this material here. Jerusalem artichokes and absolute load of sweet corn. To most people this stuff is just a pain. So they obviously, most people just throw it in a corner and then take it to the tip. You see, this stuff has been savaged by the rats, the corn. But to me, this is the best stuff I can put in my compost bins, and I'll show you why in a second, because I'm going to run it all through my wood chipper and turn it into the most beautiful material for bacteria and fungi to just get into and heat, instant heat. So let's have a look at it, eh? Get it through the gate if I can. It won't go through the gate. There's some wonderful stuff to be had this time of year. So these are all prunings off my apple tree, which can also run straight through the chipper. It's got a barrow full of them. I've also got another truck full of woody material like that. But the beauty of this, whilst it's green like this, still got sap in it, this stuff breaks down so fast. Well, this is it. It's the bog standard forestmaster chipper, not the mulcher. This is a chipper. The mulcher is different because what they've done, they've taken this block, which the mulcher is an almost identical machine, but the actual chipping block here, they've rotated it so that the feed hopper is more upright, so that allows the outshoot to be more level. So the outshoot is here, or actually drops down. Because the only problem using this as a chipper is that if you're using a lot of wet material, you're chipping up a lot of wet stuff, like if you was piling it with apples, it can't throw the wet material up this chute, so it starts clogging up this chute and it blocks it. So you then have to, so I made this little tool here. So I welded a T-nut on the nut that holds the outshoot, so that if I am chipping green material, I take the outshoot, I just drop it down like that onto the ground, and then the material shoots out of here. Now what I plan to do is just make kind of a shroud similar to that sits more or less like that. So I just need to extend that on so that the green material can be pushed out of there, and that will work actually. What I'm having to do at the moment, I just put a piece of wood on there so that it doesn't throw the green material up, because it will do, it throws it up because it's just the angle that this drum's at. So by putting a piece of plywood just on the top of there, it hits this and just drops down onto the floor. And that's essentially all the mulcher is. It's just the same as the chipper, but the feed chute and the outshoot are offset. But it's a great little machine, it really is. And I bought it, it's a good year ago when I bought it, maybe a little bit more than that. And I have put so much material through it, you know. It's really good for any sort of woody material. Obviously tree branches, things like raspberry canes, blackberries, all the fruit bushes, it will do that, no problem. But it's when you start getting into the wetter stuff that it struggles. Now things like the sweet corn, it will just do them absolutely no problem. Also that Jerusalem artichoke, I've never actually put any of that through the chipper, so it's as woody as this sweet corn, so you know it's going to do that easily. I'm going to finish waffling now, and I am going to fire up the chipper. So you put the choke on, you put the running, that's the running speed, you set that just below top speed, turn it on, turn the petrol on, and give it a couple of pulls. An absolute mountain of lovely material. This huge wheelbarrow is equivalent to 2 standard big wheelbarrows, if you like. It's massive, this barrow. You know, it's that long and it's that wide, that deep. So yeah, 2 barrows there, which will go into the compost heap. It chips it up really nice. I mean, that is obviously the sweet corn and the Jerusalem artichoke. Breaks that sort of stuff up absolutely lovely, and you can imagine how quick that stuff breaks down. It's in tiny pieces, that. Now, as you saw when I put the rye straw in, that is one of the things that clogs it up, because it just fills the chute as it's chipping up the dry straw. It just fills the chute up straight away, and then it can't throw it up and out, so the chute clogs up, and that's when I drop the chute. And then it just throws it straight out, but it will still chip it. You could see it will do the odd apple. It will do apples as long as you put something woody in after it, like a sweet corn stem, because then bigger pieces, the inertia or the momentum will just throw the mulchy, pulpy stuff out of the chute. It'll just throw it all out together. So there is a way of using it where you can manage the materials you're putting in. But generally, it will actually chip anything as long as you drop that front chute. And I am going to make like I say, an adapter that just, you know, is a covered chute that just sort of points to the ground, and then I can just virtually put anything through it. Well, the throat on the chipper is only about that wide, so if you put a lot of bulky stuff in, it can't feed in, so you kind of just have to ram it in with a little stick. Same with apples. If you was to fill it with apples, big ones, you'd have to sort of put them in till the blades pick it up and chip it and throw it out. Well, I did this for Mike at So Grow Eat because I think Mike, he's got that huge field and he's got an interest in obviously making a lot of compost to cover that field, so he'll be looking at different sources of materials, probably like, you know, branches, trees, things like that, which you can get on site. Beauty of that is it's petrol, so you can just take it anywhere and use it. Chip all the stuff into ton bags or trugs or barrows or whatever you want, and then move it off site, take it to your own plot. I absolutely love that little chipper. It was money well spent. It's been a brilliant little machine. It's never failed to start, let me down, nothing. But yeah, just straight petrol, 4-stroke engine. Runs really well. Yeah, I think that's all I want to chip today. I've got a cherry tree to take down for a lady over there, which I will chip that up. I'll run that straight into the bin, as I say, because it's actually a growing cherry. So yeah, the woody material is wet, it's full of sap. It will break down really quick. Provide virtually instant heat if you're chipping up green woody material. This is the far right bin, and I literally just topped it up this morning with a barrel full of stuff. I really am not going to get much more in here now. I've actually lost count now of the amount of times I have completely filled this bin and let it sink back, but it's got to be 5 or 6 times now. So I think I'm going to leave it. I'm going to put this stuff on top now, because I know that this chipped up corn will get really hot, and that will be the finish for this heap. Then just let it finish. Let's get that bit on there as well. So yeah, that'll be a really good topping for this heap now. And we'll just let that finish. Let's have a look at that other heap on the other end. Don't think I'm going to be able to. Oh yeah, I can. Wow, that has sunk overnight. I more or less filled that yesterday. Don't think that stick will stay there. It's going to crash down. Oh yeah, wow, that has sunk. That's where the lid. I'd put this on yesterday in that corner, so it's dropped about 12 inches overnight. That has got hot. Wow. What I put in yesterday was a lot of stuff from out of my garage. So these seed heads with mustard seeds in them, which I collected from the allotment last year while I dried the seed heads off. And I've saved a lot of the mustard seed. There's actually loads of mustard seed in here. I'll just show you, because you can never quite gather it all, if you like. All these mustard seeds here, but look at this fungi. Look at this mycelium just creeping through this material here. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Hundreds of miles of hyphae spreading out through the heap. Look at all that, another layer of it there. But getting into the really hot stuff there now. There's a ball of soil. There. A ball of compost or soil, which I've been getting a few bits and bobs off other allotments. So that's what happens to soil. Absolutely nothing. That's why I don't put it in my heap. There's a potato there. Hot tomato. Oh, look at the hyphae on that. Fungal hyphae. Beautiful. That's a sweet corn stem chopped in half. Yeah, they were the fillings from the other day then. But I can get this bin topped up now. That's good that I've got somewhere to put the material. And because I chipped to those tree prunings and that that rye straw, we've got a perfect mixture there of brown and green just to top up the bin with. I'm just going to go and get my brush because there's another half truck full of material on the floor there. Well, there we go. I'm actually quite pleased they've been sunk, and I've got a bit more space here, about 6 inches maybe, to just keep topping this bin up, which is good news because I've, like I say, that other bin, I'm going to let that one finish now. I suppose the beauty of this chip stuff is if I just chopped them corn stalks and Jerusalem artichokes up and just laid them in the bin, they would have taken much longer to decompose, but also there would have been a huge big sink rate with it. But because this is chipped up and it's more compressed, it's not going to sink as fast. And as I said, because there's more surface area than this now, the microbes are going to get to work on it really fast. I think that is it. And then my polycarbonate twin wall lid, because the sheet is full of holes, I am going to have to make some get some new material, because this stuff is just leaking like a sieve now. Anyway, that's the least of the problems. Well, I thought I'd tag this little bit of footage which I'd already filmed 3 days before I filmed the video you've just watched. And this was another huge barrel full of corn plants that I've been given. I'd also been given a load of beetroot that someone had taken out because the beets were basically like rugby balls. So I chopped the beets up with the knife, and then I ran all the corn through the bin. This, by the way, completely filled the bins at both ends to the top. And this video you've just watched was me topping the bins up again with the corn I've just chipped. And these are the temperatures they achieved the day after chopping this corn. So they got to 57 degrees overnight, which is just so quick. Anyway guys, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you all quite soon. Bye for now.